Hi everyone, Professor Martin here. Just wanted to do a quick video and say welcome to this course. Welcome to Speech 101, also known as Fundamentals of Speech. I will be teaching this course both in person and online. I'm currently teaching or scheduled to teach 3 sections of this course, and it looks like all of them are pretty much full. So looks like we will be continuing together this semester. Some of you may know if a class doesn't have a certain number of students, sometimes they get canceled within the first week, but it looks like we might be in a good place. So I hope you're staying warm this cold Tuesday. As you saw, the campus is closed. The college is closed today because of this extreme weather. And so because of that, we won't be meeting in person on campus today. So sadly, our first day will be a little bit different. But nonetheless, welcome to spring 2024. I just wanted to go through a few guidelines for what you should be doing since we won't be meeting in person today. So I'm going to share my screen. So you should be able to see at least my dashboard for City Colleges of Chicago. So you'll see that I teach 2 sections of this class in person. The first one is Section U. Actually, I would say the first one's actually Section S, which is on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 until 6:50. And the second section is Section U, which is from 7:05 to 8:25 on Tuesday and Thursday. So they are back to back. My understanding is they're in the same classroom, which is at Harold Washington College, room 1039, which is the 10th floor, the 39th room. So when you get off the elevator, you can take a right and go around because Harold Washington College is essentially a square, right? So you can essentially find all of the rooms. They're in numerical order, and we're room 39. I haven't been on campus actually for a few semesters, so it may have changed as far as what else is on that floor. The Counseling and Wellness Center used to be on that floor as well, right across from where our room is. So that may or may not still be there. I'm looking forward to being back on campus in person with you all this semester. So that's where we will meet. As of right now, that's where we will meet on Thursday, the 18th. So let me talk through what you should do between now and Thursday so that you are prepared for our time together. So regardless of if you're in Section S that meets starting at 5:30 or Section U that meets at 7:05, the structure is the same, the timeline is the same, everything is the same. The only difference is the time when we meet. So I'm going to just go into Section S for right now, just to show you. So if you're in Section U, know that it will look the exact same. It just has a different banner. So you see those are really kind of how I distinguish the differences on my dashboard, since I teach multiple sections of this course. So when you go into our Brightspace course, it'll take you first to the announcement screen. Every week, I will post an announcement, usually on Sundays. I try to do it by 5 o'clock. That then prepares you for the week, what I call our course week. Our course week goes from Monday through to Sunday. And so you'll see the way I've set up a lot of our assignments is the deadline is not until the end of our course week. And so for this week, in order to find out what we're doing, you would go to several places. You could go over to the content browser and click Module 1, or you could go up here to the toolbar up here and go to Content. That's going to take you to the spot where you really see everything you need to see. So here you'll see a few things. You're going to see it'll take you to Module 1, and this is our week from this week starting Tuesday the 16th through Sunday the 21st. So what that means is everything we do in this week must be done by end of day, Sunday the 21st. Now, some of what we do, we will do in person during class. So you'll be able to meet that requirement because by the time either on Tuesday or Thursday, when we're done with class, you'll have completed the assignment. However, for all assignments that we do in this class, you must submit something into Brightspace. So even if we do something in person, there will still be some kind of document you'll need to submit to Brightspace in order to receive a grade. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But to get started, I want you to check out the syllabus. So that's going to be the first thing to do is to review that. Take a look at the course objectives, the learning outcomes, right? Make sure this is the course that you've signed up for, right? It is a required course in the state of Illinois, so colleges and universities across the state require this course, and so the learning objectives are not anything necessarily unusual or different than what's required at other colleges. You will also see the required text. So the required text in this course is Hogan, Hayes, Andrews, Williams. It's their text called Public Speaking and Civic Engagement, and it's the 4th edition. And actually, just kind of another neat note, if you want to know what the textbook looks like, I've included it in the banner actually on our course home screen. So you can actually see in the banner here, you can actually see Public Speaking and Civic Engagement. That's what it looks like. That's what the 4th edition looks like. So you are required to have the textbook. I would encourage you to scan the emails and see where that information is. If you need the ISBN number, which is like a Social Security number for textbooks. Really, it's that number. If you Google search it, will take you directly to the specific version of the text that you need. But again, it is a 4th edition that is needed. You don't need access to anything else. The textbook provider does use a system called Revel. Some universities and colleges use the Revel system. I don't. You just need to be able to access the textbook and read the textbook. So make sure, again, you go into content, start by reviewing the syllabus. I would encourage you to download this document. You can do that by clicking the little drop-down arrow and clicking download, and that'll give you a copy that you can then print. I would encourage you to print your syllabus, specifically because the last few pages give you the timeline and the deadlines that you need to keep track of in this course. If managing your time is something that you struggle with, I mean, we all do from time to time, then I would encourage you to put these deadlines into a calendar, into a schedule. Get yourself a planner and put them in your planner and work backwards. Any deadline you have, work backwards and put block out time to complete tasks to meet that deadline. So in the syllabus, you also need to review how I run my class, what my expectations are. This is a college course. You all are college students, and so I have high expectations for my students. And so I'm sharing with you how I run my class and what my expectations are. Office hours, the waiting policy, out of class time commitments, written and submitted work requirements, how you need to format your submissions in order to get full points. So all that, the attendance policy, all that is outlined in the syllabus. So review, read through it. If you want to check things off as you read through it, you don't have to read it all in one sitting, but make sure you do review all this information. You can scroll through the policies and the resources. You may or may not be aware of some of these resources already, but when you get through that, then you're going to get to the grading section. The grading section is important, and it looks like it actually cut off here, split my chart in half. So this is going to tell you how many points you need to get this letter grade. Grades are not some mysterious thing, and I tell all of my students this, that your grade in this course comes down to the points that you've earned. And in Brightspace, you can keep track of all of the points that you've earned for an assignment. So I encourage students to use this point distribution chart. For example, the check your tech assignment, you get 20 points for. If you submit it, you get 20 points for completing that assignment. But I would encourage you to, next to each of these grades, as we go throughout the course, write down what grades you earned, right? So you can keep track of your totals. You could also do this in a spreadsheet if you wanted, but again, it comes down to the points that you've earned compared to the total points in the course. Total course points are 1,500, so you'll see that breakdown of range, right? 1,350 points to 1,500 points, you get an A, so on and so forth. So again, grades are not a mysterious thing. At any point in time in a course, you can see what your grade is, and you can project what your midterm grade is and what your final grade is, right? By just plugging in estimated point totals. So I encourage all my students to be knowledgeable about grades, knowledgeable about how to see what their grade is, how to know what their grade is. Again, it's not some mysterious thing that you should not be aware of. You should know what your grade is at any point in time. And if you have any questions, let me know. But this information is there for you to empower you to know what your grade is and keep track of that as you go throughout the course. The most important part of the syllabus is going to be the course outline. All of the information in this course outline on the syllabus is also in Brightspace. And since the syllabus is stagnant, right, the syllabus is created prior to the start of the course and is the plan for the course. But if anything changes, that's not going to change in the syllabus. It's going to change on Brightspace. So make sure you're keeping up with any changes, maybe in due dates, any changes with assignment instructions. All of those changes and modifications are done in Brightspace, not on the syllabus itself. But the syllabus is a good starting point when you're planning and going to the start of the course. So you'll see week 1, this is what we're going to be covering. These are the topics that we're going to be covering. Even though this says online, the self-introduction speeches, matter of fact, all of our practice speeches are done actually in person. We're going to learn how to do good online speeches. And so, so there will come a time where we can practice that. But because we are an in-person course, anything that says online video recorded speech is actually going to be, if it says that, I tried to go in and make those changes from when I've been teaching this online, but because it's been, like I said, a couple semesters since I've done this in person for Harold Washington College. I've been doing it in person at a couple other colleges, but anything that may say inline or online speech is actually going to be in person in class. So just make that note. So in this, you're going to see the tasks and the assignments that are going to be completed as a part of week 1, and the tasks and assignments that are going to be part of week 2. And every week, we're going to have a practice speech. So let me kind of clarify what a practice speech is. Practice speech is just that. You do it, you get full points just for doing it. The goal is to practice. The goal is to get you familiar and used to and comfortable with getting up, standing up in front of the class and speaking. And the best way to prepare you for the formal speeches, where I grade using a rubric, you provide feedback for each other. It's a more formal process, and the grade is a lot higher. Practice speeches are just that. Again, they're just opportunities for you to practice and get familiar. And so we start week 1 with a self-introduction practice speech. So you'll see on Brightspace, you'll see a list of things to consider, things to contemplate, things to reflect on in preparation for your self-introduction speech, things you may want to include about yourself. But when we meet in person, I'm going to provide a script for you to follow, word for word. So don't worry about having to write a speech in advance of our first day together. Just give it some thought so that you're prepared to share with us a little bit about who you are. And so that's what the self-introduction practice speech. Week 2, we're going to do a practice speech. We're going to work on a worksheet to write a personal mission statement, and then we're going to stand up and share that personal mission statement. We're going to spend some time interviewing each other, and then you're going to stand up and introduce each other to the class after doing some interviews. And that's week 3, our classmate introduction speech. I'm going to have you do some research in the news, and you're going to share a news story with us. And that's the civic engagement news practice speech. So again, these practice speeches, you're in class and you do it, you get the points. So on that note, it's important to make sure you are in class for practice speeches. You're there, you do it, you get the points. You're not there, you can't do it, you can't get the points. So make sure that you are in class for those practice speeches. If you have an excused absence, and make sure you take a look at the syllabus to see what qualifies as an excused absence, which is a very small list of things. Majority of things, especially things that can be scheduled in advance, are not considered excused absences. So make sure that you take a look at that and plan accordingly. And so that you are in class for these assignments, these activities that we do in class. And then kind of looking through we do have our last of our practice speeches is you find a place in Chicago that you want to do a little research on and then share with us in class a cool place that you found in the Chicago area. So those are the practice speeches. Then we start the process of preparing for our formal speeches. And formal speeches go through an extensive process. You write you select a topic first and foremost. That's the first step. After you select a topic, you then write a draft and you submit a draft for me to review and provide feedback on. After you submit a draft, you expand that draft into a full sentence version, and then you piece out keywords to put in notes on your note cards for your delivery of that. And then you do a reflection of that experience. Those are the formal speeches. So you select a topic, write a draft, write a full sentence version, deliver it, reflect on it. And those are the 5 steps of our formal speeches. We'll do 3 formal speeches in this class. We'll do an informative speech, a persuasive speech, and then a civically responsible organization speech, which is where you choose for it to be either informative or persuasive about a civically responsible organization. So those are our 3 formal required speeches in this course. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit about the speeches because it is a speech course, so we will be speaking in class. And so I wanted to kind of explain that on the syllabus, and I'll reiterate some of this when we meet in person. So I just wanted to explain a little bit about the syllabus, take a look at that, and review that before we meet on Thursday. You will also see a syllabus quiz. The syllabus quiz is very short. It's going to ask you like 4 or 5 questions that come from the syllabus. If you've reviewed the syllabus, you should be able to answer those questions. You have 120 minutes. You have 2 hours to complete this quiz. You don't need 2 hours. It's not going to take that long, especially because you can pull up the syllabus and find the answer. So take the syllabus quiz. That just guarantees that you have reviewed the syllabus and you understand these, 4 or 5 key things related to the syllabus. The other assignment that you need to complete is the Check Your Tech quiz. So review this information listed here. And then I've included some YouTube links to some tutorials. One is to Zoom meetings. If we may have Zoom meetings sometimes for office hours, for group work. We might do some classes. We may meet remotely via Zoom. So it's important that you know how to get on Zoom. You don't need a paid version of Zoom in order to access it. You can use the free version. I have a paid version that gives me an unlimited meeting time. So you don't necessarily need a paid version of Zoom. You just need to have a Zoom account so that you can log in. And so if you're not used to Zoom or you've not joined Zoom before, then I have a YouTube video for you to review, for you to watch to get familiar with that. If you've used Zoom, if you're familiar with hopping on a Zoom call, we would say, then you're good to go. You don't have to watch the tutorial video. Same thing goes with how to record a presentation using Zoom. There might be times where we may need to make a modification in the class to where one of our speeches are done as a video recorded speech. And so you need to know how to do that. And Zoom, using the free version of Zoom, gives you an opportunity to record a presentation, just like I'm doing right now. I'm recording using Zoom. You can see my video and you can see my screen, or I could very easily be sharing a PowerPoint presentation instead of sharing my web browser. So make sure you know how to video record a presentation using Zoom. If you've done it before and know how to do it, you don't have to watch the tutorial. But if you've never done that and you don't know how to do it, watch the tutorial, because it'll be an expectation that if I say, okay, we're modifying the course and this speech has to be a video recorded speech, I'm not going to then teach you how to do that because I've provided you a link to a tutorial to show you how to do that. I'll provide answers to questions after you've watched the tutorial, but you need to know the basic information on how to do that. The other things, using Microsoft Word and using Microsoft PowerPoint. Again, if this is software you've not used before, I've provided tutorials on how to use that software. I would encourage you to use Microsoft Word instead of Google Docs. And I would encourage you to use Microsoft PowerPoint instead of Google Slides, because they are they have access to tools that you don't necessarily get on Google Docs and Google Slides. After you've created things in Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, you can upload them to Google if that's what you use. But I would encourage you to get familiar with Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint, specifically because you will see in the syllabus and you'll see on some assignments, I have very specific formatting requirements, font size, font type, spacing that I'm looking for. And if you don't meet those formatting requirements, you lose points. And so make sure you know how to make those formatting changes in Word and in PowerPoint. And again, if you know how to do it, that's great. You don't have to watch the tutorials, but if you've never done it, never used it, I've provided tutorials here for you. And again, I will answer questions after you view the tutorials, but I'm not going to teach how to do this. So I want to clarify that. So review this. If you're familiar with all of this, then you just take the quiz, take the Check Your Tech quiz, which essentially acknowledges that you have reviewed this, understand this technology that's required for this course, and then you're good to go. Just to make a note, if you don't have Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, you have access to it as a student. So I would encourage you to go on to the City College of Chicago website. You can contact IT to get guidance on how to download the student version of Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint. Because again, it's not something you have to pay for. We as students have access, and I say we because I'm a student myself. I'm getting my doctorate, so I am a student as well as a professor. And so again, you have access to these resources that you do not have to pay for. So make sure you know how to use them. And then the last thing you should make sure to do is to read chapter 1, read chapter 16 of the textbook. You will see that the textbook provider, the company, does give you temporary access to the textbook for 14 days. So if you've ordered a physical copy of the textbook and it's delayed, because I've had some students, I teach a business communication class at another university, and a couple of those students said their textbooks are delayed because of the weather. Perfectly fine. But you have access to an electronic version of the textbook for 14 days. And so it doesn't prevent you from being able to complete these assignments week 1. So I would encourage you to, if you did order a physical copy of the textbook that doesn't give you instant access, go on to the textbook publisher website and then use the Revel version, temporary access for 14 days. There may also be some other free versions. The textbook's been around for a while. So anyway, so make sure that you do have access to the textbook week 1, and so that you complete chapters 1 and chapter 16. There will not be extensions given for these 2 assignments because you can have access at least to an electronic version of the textbook. I encourage just getting the electronic version of the textbook because, and I have had some students who have found a PDF version of it for free. So I encourage you just to go with that. Go with the electronic version. It allows you to keyword search things, which help if you're using, because again, my quizzes are open note, open book. So you can pull up the textbook and keyword search things there when you're taking the quiz, and that's perfectly fine. So make sure that you take these quizzes, read the chapters, take the quizzes. You get 2 attempts for any quiz. The first attempt, after you take it, you should be able to see all correct answers. And then that will help you when you take the second attempt because you know what you got correct. You just need to focus on what you got incorrect. And so I find by doing it that way, majority of students are able to score very high on the quizzes. All of the quizzes are 20 questions. I give you an hour to complete it. It usually takes students between 15 and no more than 30 minutes to complete the quizzes. So shouldn't take you very long, but it's an important part of making sure you understand the information that is in the textbook. So make sure you review the quizzes. And then for the self-introduction speech, this is what we're going to do in class. So come prepared to introduce yourself to the class. And like I said, I will provide a script for you. But as I mentioned before, all assignments in this class, even the things we do in person, you must also submit something to Brightspace. So after we work on this in class, you're going to have a little something you've written or something you've typed, a little outline that you speak from in class. That may include this information. It may not. Like I said, I'll provide a script for you to follow when you speak in class. But whatever you produce for the self-introduction speech, you will need to either take a photo of and upload, or you'll need to type up and upload to Brightspace. And that way you will get points for it. If you do not upload documentation of an assignment in Brightspace, even if you did it in class, you don't get points for it. So make sure you do that. Again, we will be doing these in person when we meet in class. So that's week one. So that is week one. Like I said, we will meet as of right now. Classes are scheduled to be in person on campus on Thursday. So I will see you at Harold Washington College on that day. If you have any questions between now and then, please feel free to reach out to me via email. I don't get the messages through Brightspace. So if you send me a chat message through Brightspace, I'm probably not going to see it. Just send me an email, tmartin145@ccc.edu. And with that, I will see you when we meet in person on Thursday. See you then.